What's going on, guys? It's Mirwin. Today we're going to make a beat sampling a random record. So if you guys haven't watched the YouTube channel, we have our series Rhythm Roulette, inspired by the series from Mass Appeal, where we go into a random record store, pick a record, and then use it to make a beat. So today, I'm going to pick it up in a second. We're going to be using this record here. Oh, almost fell out. This record here called A Man and a Woman. This is a movie soundtrack. So, I've talked a lot about in the past couple Rhythm Roulettes about how, the album art, especially in these challenges when, I'm picking a record I haven't heard anything from before or haven't heard the artist at all or anything. The album art is a big factor in me kind of choosing, what record to pick. So, again, with this record, this was something where, the album art, again, I got the album art on the wall behind me, something, I really, enjoy the aesthetics and, the design and all that stuff about music. So album art was something that really drew me here. I got this cool, kind of like bitmap, halftone graphic here. You got the pink. Another thing that really drew me to this record was that it was a soundtrack. So, as I'm going into record stores, picking these, records to sample, I'm really trying to pick different genres so that not every record is the same genre, so just I have some variety from beat to beat, video to video. So this was the only one that I got that was a soundtrack, and I just thought there was some cool opportunity there. I know a lot of beats have been great beats have been made sampling music from soundtracks. So that was something I wanted to do with this beat, sample the soundtrack. If you guys haven't watched the past Rhythm Roulette video, we have a little different format here. What I do is I actually have screen recorded my entire creative process, and then we've edited it down for time's sake, just so you guys can get a little bit of a peek into my creative process, show you guys how I make a beat, all that stuff. That being said, we'll get started and we'll start watching the screen recording. So first thing we're going to be doing here is we're laying down the clap, or at least I'm getting that drum layer ready, and then we'll drag in the sample. Off top, I'm going to say this beat is probably my least favorite I've made thus far of all the beats in Rhythm Roulette. There were definitely some challenges with this one. But so we ended up finding this sample here. It's called Un homme et une femme. French. I have no idea. Probably got it wrong. But so, first thing we're doing, we're dragging the sample in. We're chopping it up. And then here, I also have in another section, another sampler layer, and we're going to try and chop it up again with different different divisions, different chops. So we're doing that again here as well. Moving getting the mode, all the settings correctly. So we're putting the chop down. Well, actually, I read the screen recording wrong. The first thing I did was the clap, not the sample. So we just did the sample chop. We got the clap. Now we're bringing in the hi-hats. So I actually can't hear, what's going on in the screen recording. I haven't figured out how to get that Logic audio to work into it, hopefully sometime. But then, we're messing with the velocities on the hats here. Something I do a lot just to, make it more human, add some, organicness, I guess. And then we're adding another hi-hat here as well. Just something, I guess just to make it a little more organic, feel a little more like it's, not as programmed. Now we're going to be doing a low cut on the sample, just to get rid of some of those low frequencies, make some room for the bass. Now we're also we're pitching up the sample, so we're doing, it looks like 4 semitones here. We'll see if that's where I actually land on, but looks like we're kind of messing around with it. Might end up 2 semitones potentially, but so obviously a very big effect in hip hop. Maybe mainstream. There's a lot of there's a lot of different subgenres in hip hop now. But you think of like the classic 90s hip hop, Kanye, all that stuff. The pitched up sample, definitely a very big effect. Looks like we're actually pitching it down 3 semitones though. Maybe a little less common, but something that still happens a lot. Now we're laying some more drums down here. And then moving on, it looks like we're doing a little bit of a snare here, just as an accent at the end of the drum phrase. And here we got a bongo percussion we're putting in there. I do like the drums a lot on this beat. I think the main thing for this one that make me dislike it, or maybe not dislike it, but makes it more of my lower ones in the ranking, I guess, is the sample I think was a little more difficult to chop. It does have some cool stuff in it. I also, when we get to the bass, I couldn't really get the bass to hit quite how I wanted to. Couldn't figure out the right notes. None of the sounds were really working quite as well. So we have our hi-hat in here. We're doing a little bit more faster pace. and then we're doing a little velocity roll here. So you see I'm changing the velocity on that little quick roll at the end, so it kind of makes it like almost fade in, I guess. Now we're adding in the kick. I've talked about in the last videos how like the kick is a lot of times the last drum element I do when I'm making a beat. So we're doing the kick here. And then finally we're trying to figure out the 808 here. So we're starting with the 808. When I play you the final beat, I don't know if it'll be in this screen record, but what I ended up doing is I ended up using more like a synth bass. Just the 808 wasn't really working how I wanted to. So I ended up changing it and doing like a synth bass here. You see here I think I did end up changing, and it maybe just didn't make the final edit for the screen record, but I did end up doing that synth bass, and I added this plug-in shaper box to add a little bit of side chaining with the kick and the bass, so it gets a little bit, just so that both elements kind of sit together nicely. So I did add that. Now I'm just kind of messing with the settings for that, making sure it's the right one that I want. So then I'm kind of messing with the bass. Now we're adding some echo, so now we're getting a little bit more into like the mixing side of things. Adding that to that element there, and then that is basically it creatively for this beat. So before we get started and play you guys the beat, some of the stuff I did off camera, I did the arrangement off camera, went in and did some more fine tuning with like the MIDI, the mixing, mastering, EQing, all that stuff. I also did, like I said, the mixing and mastering off screen. That being said though, we'll get you guys here and we'll play the beat for you guys. Hope you guys like it.
Mirwin, what's going on?
Alright guys, that is the beat for this episode of Rhythm Roulette. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys liked this video, we got a couple more episodes of this for you guys to watch. Definitely encourage you to check them out. Also, if you haven't listened to my music yet, I got some new music. Definitely encourage you guys to check that out. We got a link in the description if you're interested in listening to it. Appreciate anyone who listens to my music. That's going to be all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Peace.